dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who ya know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey is almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Slide up it. Over there, sir. Una ready to get up? Una get up now, man. Una get up now, man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, sir. I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet. Come on, sir. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus, I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a man, son, and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this one? Listen, shut. Tell me who made the angels sing, and tell me who made the joy bells.
Oh, you know.
I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have you now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. What I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody know. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless her now. I want to hear. When the name is called, I want to hear. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. Get something out. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the rope and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, we have cordial, man. Everybody, so. Live up my life. Live for Jesus. This is silent night. What a holy night. But virgin mother and child, holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless you, God bless you. Let me tell some people, I know one prayer we pray.
Blood and fire, comrades who are in jungle tonight. On a know that the word is love. Comrades, me come with a speech, but it's a different speech me have to give tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know say time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself, him read for himself, him search for himself, and when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time. Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog, me no chow. No. Ha, ho. Who ya know? Underpants, Paolo. We the gal in the
Hold on, cut in, man, hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, no DJ, man, hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hand, so big up yourself, Mark Golding, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell, doctor. Listen. In 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of PJ Patterson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn commandment church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green, dog, me no chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green, dog, me no chow.
You have your blood, comrades.
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
Tough done. You must go to prison. And you must go to prison. Pass. You must go to prison. Mackenzie, you must go to prison. What a mess. 40 billion in a debt. Andrew, a talk and not certified yet. The green politicians, them afraid of wholeness. Nationwide, them a talk and sweat.
So them are fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop.
Tough done. You must go to prison. And you must go to prison. Pass. You must go to prison. Mackenzie, you must go to prison. What a mess. 40 billion in a debt. Andrew, a talk and not certified yet. The green politicians, them afraid of wholeness. Nationwide, them a talk and sweat. Yellow bus scandal, procurement breach. Head a figure roll or them drown in a beach. Don't stop talk, Perry, don't stop preach. And Marie mode nasty, you want some bleach. Lord God, perspective, big up yourself. The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal, look where Jamaica come to. Them a rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place no safe. It's a prime minister, are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this is my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me.
Ladies and gentlemen, blessings, blessings, one and all. I hope that you are doing well. How is everybody? Well, alright, man. It is Thursday. It's Thursday, right? It is the 16th of April, 2026. My God, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very wonderful month. It is panning out to be a very exciting year. Well, somebody say one more of the song. What wanna say? Wanna say one more of the song, ladies and gentlemen? If you don't want to hear this song again, say, go on, Perry, go on, Perry. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to be here. It's a very interesting time. Want to say, go on? Go on? Alright. Them say run tune. Perspective family, this is the Perspective and I'm your host, Perry Cummings Jr. Go on again!
Tough done. You must go to prison. And you must go to prison. Pass. You must go to prison. Mackenzie, you must go to prison. What a mess, 40 billion in a debt. Andrew, a talk and not certified yet. The green politicians, them afraid of wholeness. Nationwide, them a talk and sweat. Yellow bus scandal, procurement breach. Head a figure roll or them drown in a beach. Don't stop talk, Perry, don't stop preach. And Marie mode nasty, you want some bleach. Lord God, perspective, big up yourself.
Aim. Sakata. We are mash up, you know. Fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell. Fire, Bishop. I got your back, fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Jesus Christ, Eastwood Park Road, come. Cover your pastor. Going, Bishop. Take down the Illuminati.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Perspective. I am your host, Perry Cummings Jr. Let me know where you're viewing from. Them for know say The Perspective, ladies and gentlemen. I wanna say head a go roll. God Almighty. East Portland, blessings. Listen. Trelawney, Florida, Islington, St. Mary, St. South Silo, St. Elizabeth, Kingston, Chicago, Mandeville, Manchester, Southfield, St. Elizabeth, Maypen, Clarendon, Wisconsin, New York, Bogwalk is in the house. Blessings, man. Blessings, Yuatan. Blessings, Falmouth. Blessings, New York is in the place. Blessings, Virginia. Bless up yourself, Carol. Thank you so much for supporting every time. You know how we go to work. Toronto, Canada. If you don't give me 500 likes, me drop a next song tonight. But you don't have to give me the 500 likes. Quick. As soon as you reach 500 likes, just say, run the next song, Perry. Because we're full of tune, you know. Ontario, Cayman, New Jersey is in the house. Upstate, New York. Blessings, Crooked River, Clarendon. Bless upon yourself, Loydesville, St. Catherine, Santa Cruz, St. Best. Wanna know how we go to work, man? Like up the live, ladies and gentlemen. Blessings. My Perspective family. If you don't want to hear another tune drop tonight on the show, get us to 500 likes. Quick. Brooklyn. You know how we go to work. Mountain View, Queens, New York, Florida is here. Greetings to My Perspective family. Boy, we have a lot to talk about. We have quite a number of things to talk about tonight. Mona, you know, is my place that too. Westmoreland. Speaking of Westmoreland, isn't the comrade leader in Westmoreland today, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't the comrade leader in Westmoreland today? I wonder if we can fast. Hey, Mr. Marky G. I wonder if we can take a prips. Are them finished already? No, sir. Them not finished. Them still live. They're talking about it's about breaking barriers, building business. Westmoreland really needs this type of dialogue, ladies and gentlemen. You recognize that the government isn't supporting Westmoreland, you know. The government is not supporting Westmoreland. It is a call for concern and it must be highlighted. It seems as if the government is sabotaging Westmoreland. We heard it from the MPs. Or persons are saying that the audio from over there is poor. Well, we hope that they get that fixed, so we can probably get up prips over what is happening there. Pretty sure it's something good. Hanover. It seems as if the government is sabotaging the MPs over by Westmoreland. Celine, we addressed Miss Anne-Marie Vaz last night talking about Cruff. We talked to Anne-Marie Vaz last night about her rude remarks Oftentimes, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear people descend to such lows, it is normally a testament to one's character. And I just believe in my hearts of hearts that if a sitting MP could lose in such a very embarrassing way to a new time MP candidate, that is all that I need to describe Anne-Marie as the cruff she is, politically at least. But we won't waste our time on somebody who has been beaten and embarrassed by the one who brought the heat last year. I'm only happy that I was a part of that campaign, Mr. Isaac Buchanan. Blessings every time. I saw firsthand, ladies and gentlemen, how Mr. Isaac whip. Eh? You're jumping on the asphalt couldn't save you. Because you were exposed. The people wanted a change. How could you call Mr. Golden a cruff when you did nothing in East Portland? How could you call Mr. Golden a cruff when you were unable to vocalize concerns on behalf of the constituency that you should have represented, but poorly did so? So who is the real cruff here? You guys got a recount, and instead of gaining votes, you lost votes. So Mrs. Vaz, who is the real cruff in this conversation? You all tried to sully the name of Mr. Isaac Buchanan by bringing up his past in such a very degrading way. You all made rude racial remarks against Isaac. Anybody remember that last year? Anybody remember those rude, questionable remarks? So I'm wondering, Sister Vaz, who is the real cruff in the political space? You are already a forgotten conversation. So we will not waste our time on people who are politically irrelevant, who have been already beaten and dusted aside. Wheel and come again another time, Sister Vaz. Probably need to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself the question, why is it that East Portland had to go the Buchanan way after you received financial support from all walks of life? I'm pretty sure your husband poured into your campaign, and we all know his abilities down by Portland. And with all these isms and the schisms that you all came up with, you were still unable to be the victor. That is what you should be contemplating. But hey, we will not waste our breath on irrelevant topics and people who have nothing good to contribute to the political landscape or to the future of Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a lot to discuss tonight. And as you know me, I won't waste much time. I'm diving right into the fray because that is where we need to be in such a time like this. I think we should first talk about how our agriculture, it has really been impacted by Hurricane Melissa. But even more so, the reluctance from the government to put forward any really innovative initiative to really help, especially our banana and plantain farmers. It is quite a call for concern, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this.
St. Mary is referred to as the banana parish, but the scarcity is not just an issue for that parish. Trucks loaded with the fruit usually journey to Coronation Market in Kingston. This evening, Ramarda Lyons goes to the market for part 2 of Storm to Table.
Green gold, the name given to banana. But the gold was bruised a few months ago, and farmers still reeling.
From the farm to the market. So what exactly has vendors been seeing?
2 months ago, before the hurricane, after the hurricane, the banana shortage is really and plant is really short bad, you know. So right now it kind of come back. Look, you know, that's scarce, but the price kind of fluctuate back on a regular basis.
I don't buy banana from Melissa Hurricane.
Right.
Because it's expensive and I don't see what I like. Most of them too maga, so I don't buy them.
Banana and plant, it is around, but not in that vast amount.
Now, when demand is greater than supply, that usually means that shoppers will have to pay more.
One of the very few boxes of ripe bananas seen on Tuesday, April 14, 2026. Off camera, the vendor said a bunch was going for $1,500. Here's another vendor. Her name is Joy. She isn't able to offer that to customers.
But the plantain always a reasonable size for the price. You get sometimes $500 for 3, or depends on the size, or $1,000. While green banana is $500 a dozen.
Shoppers could complain until next year. The reality is,
well, they'd have to just accept the price that they see now until it changes. There will be a change, but not too soon and not far along.
This is Maurice. He falls in the accepting shopper category. However, he admits that it's far from appealing.
When I come downtown and buy 1 dozen banana for $500 a dozen, it's very critical, you know? So, boy, I don't know what we can do, you know. More have to go wait on production until when banana come in service.
In 2022, over 72,000 tons of bananas and 60,000 tons of plantains were produced locally. 2023, over 71,000 tons of bananas and over 46,000 tons of plantains. It's a staple, used as a day starter or a side for dinner.
When it's there, we have to buy it because my girlfriend go downtown the other day and paid $250 for 1 ripe banana. I mean, if you ask her if I export, she export banana from another country.
They are selling it and they are young. Sometimes they put things on it, force ripe it, and they can do better. I think they can do better and wait until they are fit and to sell it.
Prior to Melissa, this is what she was paying for banana.
200, 150, sometimes 100, sometimes 70. And I think they can do better than what they are doing now.
Now, Food Securities and Agricultural Journal. In 2013, it said price volatility is among the most pressing risks for both farmers and consumers, and that sudden increases in staple prices erode household food security, particularly for the poor. Ora Lewis, head of Extension Services in the Banana Board, says the banana industry was on the rebound from beryl. However, Melissa wiped that clean in a single blow.
We had, we'll say, over 80% damages to the industry, and this damage was yes, we had more losses to maiden plants, and so we would have a bigger challenge with the recovery.
Farmers spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their crops that were destroyed. So there's a mental impact.
In crisis, there's also the psychological effect, and some of them would want to, feel discouraged and want to sometimes move slow with the recovery process. It's not that they don't know what to do, but because of, two systems coming so sharp behind each other.
Mr. Lewis added that the rise in farm theft stems from scarcity.
Yes, in this time when there's high demand, yes, you'd have increased level of period lasting because banana prices are very high at this point in time, that which is available.
Tomorrow, we hear from the government and the opposition. Ramarda Lyons, TVJ News.
Ladies and gentlemen, who should we blame for such a decline in the banana industry? You hear the prices for banana now? What a lot of persons will miss is that this government has totally neglected the banana industry. Remember, agriculture under this administration, it has been failing miserably too. And that is the truth. And we are going to get into it. Because a lot of persons don't understand that this government doesn't believe in the grow what you eat and eat what you grow. They don't. And because of the neglect, banana in this country, it has been poorly funded. No strategic implementations, no innovation, no nothing. So banana have to suffer under this administration. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna park the bus here for a little bit. Not the yellow buses that Vaz claim him spend $1.4 billion on. But let us park the perspective bus right here so a little bit. Now, one of the things that we must understand is that there is a failure on the government's part to modernize agriculture. It is 2026, ladies and gentlemen. Other countries use tech, data, and innovation to improve agriculture in their countries. Why is it that this government loves to talk about technology and innovation and modernity, yet we have the same back-a-wall approach to maintaining and improving our agriculture? There has been insufficient investment in agricultural modernization, research, and disease control. Tell me when last Minister Floyd Green said, okay, Jamaica, listen, we're going to roll out a modern approach to improving the banana industry in this country. Yes, Sister Stedman, tell them at 500 likes I dropped the news, sir. Tell me when last Minister Floyd Green says, okay, we're going to look into strategic measures as to how we can revamp and improve the banana industry. I challenge somebody to tell me when last they hear that. The government failed to reposition the banana industry in a competitive global market after the erosion of the preferential trade agreements. Remember, there was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where everybody would get banana from Jamaica. Me young, ladies and gentlemen. But for my older family members here tonight, you can remind me and remind me very well. There was a time when Jamaica was the banana mecca of the Caribbean on this side of the hemisphere. What happened? It is a failure of leadership. Don't blame everything on Melissa, you incompetent administration. You use Melissa as the scapegoat for your failures. And I'm sick and tired of it. I am sick and tired of this government using Melissa as the excuse. We exist in a tropical context. The banana industry was booming in Jamaica. So what happened? We always have rainfall, strong wind. So why is it that now we're blaming hurricane for a failure of the banana industry? This was happening long before Melissa. Long before the Melissa. Rural roads and logistics remain poor. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a correlation between poor road infrastructure and how our agriculture sector performs. Listen to me and listen to me well. Chronic underinvestment in rural infrastructure continues to undermine agricultural productivity and profitability. The very first guest that we had on the perspective was Dr. Norman Grant, who reminded us of just how poor the road infrastructure is in this country and how it affected the coffee industry and still continues to negatively affect the coffee industry. But it is also affecting the banana industry, ladies and gentlemen. When you don't have proper roads leading to the banana farms, leading into the markets, then how can productivity increase? Our farmers have been neglected, ladies and gentlemen. The decline of Jamaica's banana industry is not just about hurricanes or global competition. We've always had that. It is about policy failure, neglect of farmers, a lack of long-term vision. So while other countries are modernizing and adapting, our farmers were left underfunded, unprotected, and unsupported. That is my stance. This government has rejected agriculture in this nation. We continue to import everything that we eat. The onion farmers were complaining. The coffee farmers are complaining. The banana farmers are complaining. Why? Because there's a lack of vision. And as I've always said, ladies and gentlemen, without vision, the people must perish. When I was running for president at UE Mona, that was one of my catchphrases. Without vision, the people perish. There's a lack of vision in this administration, ladies and gentlemen, and it shows every day. So let us stop pretending, Jamaica, as if we cannot hold the Minister of Agriculture accountable for the failures of the different industries. Don't tell me, and it's the same thing that we're seeing with even Christopher Tufton. When we see these failures under the different ministries, the labor rights don't want us to hold the ministers accountable. Listen to this. We had access to premium markets in the European Union. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the banana industry had access to the EU and their markets. We had farmers who were ready to produce. We had our market. What did our leaders do? Because the global rules changed and the World Trade Organization changed the rules of engagement. And what did the Andrew Holness-led administration did? What did Minister Floyd Green do? They did absolutely nothing. Nothing strategic, nothing transformative. Just a cycle of promises over and over and over again. Every time election time comes around, they talk about how they're going to improve this sector, that the industry there, and all of that. But no change. The fishing industry, don't you recognize that the entire thing is falling apart? Let me tell you something. If Jamaica continues on this path, I am not, listen, before 2027, listen to me and listen to me well. If Jamaica continues on this path, ladies and gentlemen, before we cross over into 2027, we will see an economy collapsing. Well, it has already started. But a total collapse is coming if we continue on this path. The current administration in government, ladies and gentlemen, they have no clue. You hear how Mr. Golin was warning them about the energy costs and the externalities and why we need to put safeguards in place to ensure that we can withstand external pressures. And now when the oil price is going up, everybody is running around like headless chickens because they continue to be reactive and not proactive. For 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems as if Jamaica is like a fish out of water. We don't understand that with the lack of leadership that we are experiencing today, Jamaica is under siege, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what Mr. Golden said in his press briefing on Tuesday, reminding Jamaica that the People's National Party has always tried to guide this government, to guide our nation, to put contingency plans in place. But instead of taking heed to the people with the vision, because I've said it before, the DNA of the People's National Party, the DNA of the PNP is to put measures in place for a rainy day. Who remembered that presentation by Mr. Damian Crawford when he debunked the lies coming from the JLP that they have more fiscal discipline and talking about rainy day, when it was the People's National Party who established a lot of the funds, a lot of agreements, so that we could stand the rainy days, including COVID-19. The Jamaica Labour Party loves to take credit for how Jamaica navigated COVID-19. If it weren't for the People's National Party administration prior to Andrew Holness, Jamaica would have been totally destroyed. Listen to Comrade Leader. Listen to Mr. Golden.
The other thing I wanted to mention at this time is the situation with the Middle East and the war. We are now approaching the end of the second month of that conflict. We have seen the price of fuel at the pump going up week after week after week. We have been told by major corporate distributors and wholesalers in the food trade that food prices are going to start going up as well. It is going to flow through to other critical inputs, fertilizers, chemicals, medications, all of the different products, plastic-related products that have some form of petrochemical base in them. Everything is going to be impacted by this. The government has been completely silent as to their response to this incipient crisis on the people. There's no provision in the budget for any form of assistance. We heard from Petrojam that it has cost them, I think, $5 million US to mid-March from not having passed on the full dollar impact of the increase in oil prices that they have been incurring. But they have been making losses for the last 2 years, so they're in no position to finance that form of subsidy, and they're going to be depending on government for a bailout there. There's no bailout for them in the budget. And you know, the last PNP administration had the foresight of entering into an oil hedging program to protect Jamaica from what we are seeing now. It was funded by a special tax that was dedicated to financing that oil hedging program, which is essentially an insurance policy that if oil prices go above a certain figure per barrel, Jamaica gets a cash payment to cover that cost. This government discontinued that program, abandoned that insurance, but kept the tax in place and has been using it as part of the general revenue of the country. So now that we're facing the horror of oil prices at around $100 a barrel, when the budget was cast at an assumption of $60 a barrel, we are facing that with no protection, but the tax very much still in place and being paid by motorists, by consumers of electricity, and everyone in the society who pays tax effectively. This is a deplorable situation, and the government needs to come out and speak to how they intend to manage the impact of this cost of living crisis that is unfolding on the Jamaican people. Are we going to see any targeted relief for PATH beneficiaries? Are we going to see any targeted relief for Melissa victims? People who have already suffered massive damage to their homes and inadequate assistance in resolving their shelter needs are now going to be impacted by a cost of living crisis. What is to be done about them? What is to be done in terms of more general relief, especially for low-income families who will be having to bear the cost of increased prices for everything that they consume? The government has been silent. Many other governments around the world have already put measures in place to protect their populations. Ours has remained mum.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, Mr. Golin, what measures Mr. Vaz is going to be putting in place. But, well, we touched on it last night, but I'm pretty sure many of us are hearing some of the proposals coming from Minister Vaz. One of them is to lock down the country again. Mr. Philip Paulwell cautioned Minister Vaz against that, because when you keep everybody home, you're shielding them from one thing, but the electricity prices are going to go up. JPS win again. I wonder if this is strategic, ladies and gentlemen.
So them are fire, and if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare.
I already told Minister Vaz that to close down the country is going to do more harm than good. You are going to be strangling the economy. Again, what you should have done, you incompetent Andrew Holness administration, what you have done or what you plan to do, you incompetent administration, you did not strengthen the local economy enough. We were warning you all, the small business associations, myself, many other advocates. We were saying, put the measures in place, spur growth in the economy after Melissa. But their crawfish mentality, Ricardo Bacchus, couldn't allow them to think innovatively and quickly enough so that the people could have greater purchasing power. The people could be back on SCY. Dragging your feet after a natural disaster is dangerous. Because see, they know. Have we recovered from Melissa? My perspective family, have we? Did we bounce back from Hurricane Melissa? Are we able to now face this shutdown? Listen, I don't care which other journalist has any other opinions, you know. Everybody's free to have their opinions. I just don't believe locking down the country is the best idea. Or at least that cannot be the best solution. Not when we did not recover. I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, to shut down the country, it is only going to slow the recovery process that has never started under this government. We are on what road to recovery, Mr. Holness? People are still homeless. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me some of the realities that we're still facing, because probably I'm being unreasonable. Probably they're saying I'm pressuring Mr. Vaz unnecessarily. So they might come out and say we are misunderstanding. But tell me, ladies and gentlemen, What are some of the realities that we are facing today after 6 going 7 months after Hurricane Melissa? What position are we in? What position are we in, Minister Vaz? To lock down country, to prevent people from moving up and down. People are still living under tarpaulin. So when I say people should stay home, people still don't even know what a government aid look like. The roofs program is a disaster, Mr. Pernell Charles Jr. Almost every initiative that these people have rolled out are failing. We still have people in shelters at the schools. The political dinosaur, Mr. Mackenzie, coming out talking about May 8th. And based on what Mr. Dwayne Vaz from Westmoreland said, the area that they have decided to use to erect these shelters, not much has been done on in that space. So will May 8th actually be the day we see the people moving from the shelters at the schools? Bad roads, no water. We could go on and on. So don't tell me, Minister Vaz, that I am misunderstanding you. I am not misunderstanding you. You have no economic sense. You have no economic sense. I see you going back and forth with Mark Golding on Twitter. You have no economic sense to close down the country now when we have not even started to recover. Because don't tell me that this is the recovery process. Jamaica is in limbo. Thousands of Jamaicans have not yet recovered from Melissa. So what exactly are you proposing? When you hang it in a balance, won't the disadvantages far outweigh the advantages, Minister Vaz? Will that not only increase the pressure on the economy and inevitably all Jamaicans? Will this not slow up productivity for all our industries that are already suffering? When you tell the banana farmers that they cannot move, when you tell the onion farmers that they cannot, I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm making sense. When you tell the coffee farm that they cannot move, when you tell the little higglers who are trying to get money together, when they're trying to get back their livelihoods, when you tell these people that they cannot move, how are you going to spur the growth? How are we going to build back better than before? It's a cruffy, it's a very cruff, it's a cruff government, you know, Ricardo. A cruff government, this, you know. How is it going to make sense, ladies and gentlemen? But when it comes to policy, you have to look at all the advantages and all the disadvantages. Not because it sounds like a good idea means that it is the way to go. You have to look at all the advantages and all the disadvantages, and then you say, okay, will this have greater advantages or greater disadvantages? And when you look at that, that is how you make your decision. But we are only in this predicament, ladies and gentlemen, because the government failed to put plans in place for these rainy days. I played the clip with Mr. Mark Golding. Let me play it again. I want us to understand why we are in the predicament that we are in. But you know, somebody said something to me. With all the protests that will be coming, we see the protests at Mona. You know, so somebody tell me, say it's a ploy to silence the people. They recognize that a civil unrest is brewing in this country, you know. And they've been hearing the conversations. They recognize that tensions are high. They recognize that Jamaicans are fed up. They recognize that even some of their own JLP bloggers and mouthpieces, they're turning on each other. They realize that the country is becoming unstable. They recognize that too many scandals are coming out. So they want to stop movement and keep people in. You soon hear so the JCF will be instructed to take in action, keeping people inside, martial law. That is what I'm hearing still. I just telling you what I'm hearing. I'm telling you what the streets are saying, because you know I'm an in the streets man too, you know. I'm just telling you what the streets are saying, ladies and gentlemen. But let me remind you what Mr. Golding said.
The other thing I wanted to mention at this time is the situation with the Middle East and the war. We are now approaching the end of the second month of that conflict. We have seen the price of fuel at the pump going up week after week after week. We have been told by major corporate distributors and wholesalers in the food trade that food prices are going to start going up as well. It is going to flow through to other critical inputs, fertilizers, chemicals, medications, all of the different products, plastic-related products that have some form of petrochemical base in them. Everything is going to be impacted by this. The government has been completely silent as to their response to this incipient crisis on the people. There's no provision in the budget for any form of assistance. We heard from Petrojam that it has cost them, I think, $5 million US to mid-March from not having passed on the full dollar impact of the increase in oil prices that they have been incurring. But they have been making losses for the last few years, so they're in no position to finance that form of subsidy, and they're going to be depending on government for a bailout there. There's no bailout for them in the budget. And you know, the last PNP administration had the foresight of entering into an oil hedging program to protect Jamaica from what we are seeing now. It was funded by a special tax that was dedicated to financing that oil hedging program, which is essentially an insurance policy that if oil prices go above a certain figure per barrel, Jamaica gets a cash payment to cover that cost. This government discontinued that program, abandoned that insurance, but kept the tax in place and has been using it as part of the general revenue of the country. So now that we're facing the horror of oil prices at around $100 a barrel, when the budget was cast at an assumption of $60 a barrel, we are facing that with no protection, but the tax very much still in place and being paid by motorists, by consumers of electricity, and everyone in the society who pays tax effectively. This is a deplorable situation, and the government needs to come out and speak to how they intend to manage the impact of this cost of living crisis that is unfolding on the Jamaican people. Are we going to see any targeted relief for past beneficiaries? Are we going to see any targeted relief for Melissa victims? People who have already suffered massive damage to their homes and inadequate assistance in resolving their shelter needs are now going to be impacted by a cost of living crisis. What is to be done about them? What is to be done in terms of more general relief, especially for low-income families who will be having to bear the cost of increased prices for everything that they consume? The government has been silent. Many other governments around the world have already put measures in place to protect their populations. Ours has remained mum.
It's rather unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, that we are under an administration that has failed to show vision, coordination. They failed to show any real sign that they are serious about governance in this nation? Let us take our first break, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we touch on some more things. We may very well go over to Westmoreland and see what is happening over there as well.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal. Look, tough done. You must go to prison. And you must go to prison. Vast. You must go to prison. Mackenzie, you must go to prison. What a mess. 40 billion in a debt. Andrew, a talk and not certified yet. The green politicians, them afraid of wholeness. Nationwide, them a talk and sweat. Yellow bus scandal, procurement breach. Head a figure roll or them drown in a beach. Don't stop talk, Perry, don't stop preach. And Marie mode nasty, you want some bleach. Lord God, perspective, big up yourself.
And Protherapy, we are here to help you to bring ultimate relaxation to your feet. Our hot stone, Swedish, and deep tissue massage services are here to help you to get rid of tensions, minor swellings, and aches and pain, increase flexibility and circulation. If you are having any heart or circulatory diseases, then this might not be for you. Reach out to us and let's see if you can secure yourself with a foot massage for as low as $4,500. Thank you for choosing Pearl Therapy, the healing hub.
Are you frustrated with your skincare? Are you tired of acne, blemishes, scars, sagging skin, wrinkles, discoloration? Why not enjoy our wide array of products from skin, hair, and personal care? Place your frustration on our shoulders, and we will get you smiling again. The power of our products are in our formulation and ingredients. Listen to our customer testimonial. This is what she has to say.
Oh my gosh, look at my face. I've been using these products for a year, exactly 1 year. If you have not tried them, you need to try them. They really work. Look at my skin.
Visit our website or contact us at 917-557-6204. Make it Tony and Organics and order yours today.
Food is designed to be felt, not just tasted. Soft warmth, gentle richness, a harmony that melts effortlessly on the tongue. At Cummings Exquisite Caterers, every dish is an invitation, guided by passion, finished with elegance. We cater for life's most meaningful moments, elegant weddings, private celebrations, and much more. With a serene repast center just 10 minutes away from two major cemeteries. We are located at 38 Dublin Spanish Town Road. Reach out to us, 876-573-9124. Cummings Exquisite Caterers, where desire meets dining.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Perspective, and I'm your host, Perry Cummings Jr. So as you know, the People's National Party, they've mobilized their team under the leadership of Mr. Mark Golding. They are in Westmoreland. You know, my viewers are my viewers. I won't do anything without your, your take. Do you want us to spend a few minutes over Westmoreland to hear what is being done? Because they are having some discussions. I don't know what you guys want me to do. You want me to continue with the show, or you want us to take a few minutes to go over to Westmoreland? Carol, what is happening over there? Let me know what you guys want me to do. Because we could go over there for a little bit and listen. Me love PNP business because I am a comrade, ladies and gentlemen. I am a member of the People's National Party. So when I see the PNP having meetings, I get excited. What? I'm not going to talk now. Let me not go over them, man. Alright, guys, here what? Let's see if we can hear what is happening. Hold on.
Navigating the space through sharing ideas and sharing that any longer. So they're going to have a new pricing formula which is going to pass through more of the cost to the ultimate consumer, whether it be a business or a private citizen, a motorist, or whatever it may be. So that is going to be a real challenge. And you know, other countries have announced efforts by the government to cushion some of the blow on the people of those countries from this storm of higher prices that we're facing. And the whole world is facing it because oil is such an essential ingredient in energy, in transportation, in manufacturing, in pharmaceuticals, in agricultural inputs like fertilizers. So there are a wide array of critical inputs where the prices are going to be impacted by this higher price. Now, there was a tax that was put in place in 2015 on fuel dedicated to financing an oil hedging program. That's a technical word, but essentially what it was to provide the resources so that Jamaica could purchase insurance in the international financial markets, that if the price of oil went above an amount, whatever price we chose as the price above which we can't absorb that on our own, we would be entitled to a payment from whoever we bought that insurance from. That was a way of protecting the country from shocks which result in the spike in the price of oil. After 2016, when the government changed, the new government did not think that that was necessary. And so they abandoned the oil hedging program. And they no longer, we had done, I think Jamaica had done 4 hedging contracts up to that point. When those matured, they didn't renew them. But they kept the tax. So we are still paying that tax up to today, though the purpose for which that tax was put in place is not being fulfilled. And of course, had we maintained it, we would have the benefit of it now when the price has gone up to $100 or whatever it is per barrel. There's no protection for Jamaica now. We're going to absorb the full brunt of the movement in prices. And you know, insurance is a funny thing, because when you pay a premium and the risk that you're buying the insurance for doesn't happen, people say, oh, you waste your money. But that's not the case. In fact, you won because that risk hasn't hit you. But had it hit you, having paid that premium, you would be able to make a claim. And so that's the nature of insurance, that it's protecting you from the downside of a risk. Because if that risk doesn't transpire, you're okay. You know, you're not going to feel a hit anyway. But where the risk does transpire and you have no protection, then you're really feeling it. And that is what Jamaica is going into now. So I would say the government should really morally consider removing or substantially reducing that tax that was put in place to pay for an oil hedge, an insurance arrangement, which was abandoned by the government, so that the people of Jamaica didn't have the benefit of that arrangement at a time which you're in now, where the prices have moved so heavily against the consumer. It's kind of a clear, I would say, a clear candidate for passing some relief back to the people by reducing that tax or eliminating it. Yes, it's going to have a budgetary impact if you do that, but we're going through a period where that's unavoidable. And when we weather that storm, we can always restore ourselves through a vibrant economy. We will always be able to come out of that situation fiscally. But in the meantime, we have to ensure we survive. And so that would be a candidate, in my opinion, for giving back some relief to the people, because the moral justification is strong. That tax is only there to pay for insurance, and that insurance was not purchased with that tax. That tax was just gone into general revenues to pay increased salaries for those who got the big increases. So, the case for giving that tax back to the people going forward, at least during this period, I think is a strong case. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I think it's a good opportunity for us to have a conversation. I would really like to hear from the business community what life is like for you at the moment, and what are the things that you would like to see done to help you get back on your feet, because nothing seems to be happening to protect your sector, and that is totally unacceptable. So let us hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rowling. Very, very solid words indeed. And certainly any relief that we can get right now will help us. Because make no mistakes about it, we're in for some serious times. Melissa, Beryl, COVID, Beryl, Melissa, and now war and oil crisis. Oil prices skyrocketing. So as they say in Jamaica, you have on your belly, because it's really tough times. So the relief is very important, sir. Mr. Golding, sir, it concerned I just pledged $1 million for the. Did I add a zero too much? 10? All right, so we will yield to his suggestion. And for the persons who are not yet members, I have not discussed this with my executive members, but I know they will support me by offering a 50% discount for all those who wish to become a member, but you have to do it today. Today. All right? So you can fill out the form. The forms are at the back. Complete it. If you have the money with you, you can make the payment, or you can make it online. But get the form, fill it out, and hand it back to the person today. All right? All right, so before I go to the discussion, well, let me start the discussion segment. And Mr. Golding, sir, I want to mention a few things on a larger scale that are affecting the businesses in Westmoreland right now. And I'll start with the roads that we have to drive on. You didn't fly here today, so you drove. All right, so you had a jolly time. No, seriously, it takes you so long to drive a mile that you could almost reach Kingston in some instances. And we really need to get the roads repaired. Every direction you go, leaving or entering Savannah Lamar, it's an issue. South to Negril, south to Grange Hill, south to Ferris, White House, going that direction, Petersfield, it's just not acceptable. And to add to that is the issue with the wear and tear on your vehicle, especially at nights. So that's one thing that's affecting productivity and efficiency, and we must concern. The other issue we face, sir, which is is a very big one and has been with us for a very long time, it's a sewage issue. Westmoreland, Savannah Lamar is below sea level. So when the tide comes in, it affects the sewage situation. And most of us have to be paying that truck to drain the cesspool, truck they call it, and take it away. And it costs us like about, some of them charge like $55,000 per load. And when it's raining heavily and the rough tides coming in, you have
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, they're about to get into the discussion. What we're going to do is, Karel, just let me know, because we're going to touch on one more thing and then we head back over to Westmoreland. This conversation is so interesting. I hope Margolin is going to be doing more of these things because it is so needed. When last you see the Prime Minister have Westmoreland is being sabotaged, you know. Westmoreland is being sabotaged. I want to hear Julian Robinson because I see him on the panel. I see Ian Hales, and of course we know that Mark Golden is there. I think Westmoreland is being targeted. Hanover is being, ladies and gentlemen, I could be wrong, but I just believe that the government is deliberately sabotaging Westmoreland. Sabotaging Westmoreland. We're gonna jump back over to Westmoreland in a bit. But I wanted to, while we are doing two things at the same time, look at what Adpem is saying. And Dwayne Vaz is there as well. Look at what Adpem is saying. Adpem reports that more than 1.4 billion in Hurricane Melissa donations were. Adpem where? 1.4 billion sounds familiar to you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this government love quote 1.4 billion, so. Adpem. 1.4 billion in what? Who benefited from this 1.4 billion? Everybody love talk about 1.4 billion in this country.
And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody love talk about 1.4 billion. I want to know how much Jamaican benefited from this 1.4 billion. And Peter Bunting is also over there. Anybody from Westmoreland get any of those packages? Adpem? Remember say you are just a figurehead, you know. From them moved Adpem under the office of the Prime Minister, you are just a figurehead. And you have to come out and tell people what the Prime Minister and other people instructed to come out and say. Talking about 1.4 billion. It is stupidness, ladies and gentlemen. It is stupidness. We're gonna play this clip, then we jump back over to Westmoreland. Listen to what the government did, which is to remove the $4.50 price cap on petrol. And of course, they're urging Jamaicans to conserve fuel. But we heard Mr. Golin just now telling us that it is a failure of preparation on the part of the government why we are now scrambling. Listen.
Welcome back to Primetime News.
And a special welcome once again to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com.
First up this evening, Jamaicans are being warned to brace for even higher gas prices over the coming days as the government today removed the weekly $4.50 price cap on fuel prices due to the war in the Middle East.
Speaking at post-cabinet press briefing today, Energy Minister Daryl Vaz said since the war, Petrojam has absorbed over $1.3 billion in losses in order to cushion the impact on Jamaicans.
Now, Kelisha Williams has that story.
A staunch warning to Jamaicans from Energy Minister Daryl Vaz at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing as oil prices continue to increase due to the ongoing tension in the Middle East.
My words to you, Jamaica, is definitively we are going to see increases as long as this continues. We will do what we can do, but it is important that you do what you need to do to understand that you need to conserve starting today.
Mr. Vaz said since the U.S.-Iran war began weeks ago, Petrojam has been absorbing most of the cost in order to cushion the effect on the...
Between March 12th and April 8th, the full increase in transport fuel prices averaged $49.20 per liter. So that would have been the increase based on the change in the oil prices. However, only $18 of that $49.20 per liter was passed on to consumers based on Government of Jamaica's pricing cap at Petrojam at $4.50 per liter per week, up or down.
It means previously the weekly gas prices could not be increased or reduced by more than $4.50. He says over the period, Petrojam has absorbed over 1.3 billion Jamaican dollars. Mr. Vaz said without the cap, gasoline prices would have increased by $26.77 per liter, while diesel would have risen to about $65 to $70 per liter. However, the price cap is no longer sustainable and will be removed. So going forward, Cabinet has considered a new pricing mechanism.
As of today, the new pricing mechanism is as follows. Based on the war in the Middle East, it has become necessary to make changes to the pricing mechanism used by Petrojam to respond to the pricing uncertainty. A tiered approach is being implemented, which will see petroleum prices being more closely aligned to global price movements. This will allow Petrojam to be more agile and respond in a more timely manner to price volatility.
And so he said there may be about 3 different price caps going forward that will be adjusted weekly based on market conditions. Mr. Vaz stressed that if the price cap had continued, it would have cost the government about $11.8 billion.
But let me be blatantly, truthfully, upfront, in your face. The government of Jamaica cannot stomach $11.8 billion with all of what we have to do and the contending priorities. And anybody who tell you any different, I'm sure they will, after this press conference, rubbish.
Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
You must go to prison, and you must go to prison. Vaz, you must go to prison. Mackenzie, you must go to prison. What a mess, 40 billion in a debt. Andrew, a talk and not certified yet. The green politicians, them afraid of wholeness. Nationwide, them a talk and sweat. Yellow bus scandal, procurement breach. Head a figure roll or them drown in a beach. Don't stop talk, Perry, don't stop preach. And Marie mode nasty, you want some bleach. Lord God, perspective, big up yourself.
Ask ourselves, because even patrolling becomes more difficult for us when we are not able to traverse the roadway at a certain pace and to go certain places. So we too are urging for some fix or some work to be done in all the areas in Westmoreland. I thank you.
Their feed is giving a little problem, ladies and gentlemen. But let's wait until it comes back up. We really want to hear what over Westmoreland. Yes, there's a bad feed over there. Alright, we soon get back to Westmoreland. But ladies and gentlemen, it is so interesting though what we're experiencing in Jamaica. Here we have a government that failed to put proper plans in place. And now when the crisis is here, everybody is scrambling, running up and down, headless chickens. Nobody didn't put any proper measures in place. It is sad. I cannot trust this government at the helm of this nation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not the only one saying it. Listen to this. Diaspora leader. Anybody know this gentleman here? The diaspora, one of the diaspora leaders, ladies and gentlemen, urges caution when donating funds to the government. Let me repeat. A diaspora leader, Dr. Leo Gillin, is urging Jamaicans living abroad to exercise caution when donating funds to the government for development. Not to exercise caution when donating to the PNP. Not exercising caution when donating to Mark Golin. Not exercising caution when you're dealing with the PNP. But exercise caution when you are giving donations to the Andrew Holness leader.
Fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Aim. Sakata. We are mash up, you know. Fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell. Fire, fire, Bishop. I got your back, fire, fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Watch the operation. Jesus Christ, this footpath road, come. Come on. Cover your pastor, Go in, Bishop, go in, Bishop. Take down the Illuminati.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am young, so I am asking, is Dr. Leo Gillin a supporter of the PNP or a supporter of the JLP? Because I honestly don't know. I've only heard some things, ladies and gentlemen. I have only heard some things, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know for sure. But Dr. Leo Gillin said, exercise caution when you take up your hard-earned dollars and give it to this government. Because since Hurricane Melissa last October, donations from the diaspora have been steadily pouring into support recovery efforts across affected communities. Dr. Leo Gillin says while many diaspora members believe they are contributing to national development, the structure of government financial systems makes it difficult to track how their money is ultimately used. The people don't know how their money is spent under Andrew Holness led administration. The people don't have any confidence in this administration when it comes to the donation. On that note, Mr. Prime Minister, I remembered when your administration, a certain senator as well as some of the sorry excuses that you all call bloggers, they were drilling the People's National Party to be more transparent with the monies that they collected in the name of relief efforts. Now that the information is out for the world to see, I would like to ask you, government, the Andrew Holness led administration, the JLP administration, to please come to the front of this line and tell us how every dollar spent in this country. Because when we talk, we don't say because we are PNP. Well, the people in the diaspora, they don't trust your administration. So they are warning their own people to be careful how them give you money. I want to know how the people their money go. JLP administration, Andrew Holness administration, I want to know how the diaspora money go. And that me want to know. Somebody said the meeting back on. Is the feed okay? Come by now, we're jumping back over Westmoreland in and between time. How the diaspora money go? The only reason why the people of the diaspora are saying that, ladies and gentlemen, is because them not see what their money doing. Look around you. Why is Jamaica in this current state if we are receiving aid from the government in the name of relief? It is a shame and a disgrace. You don't hear labor rights talking about this. You don't hear people talking about this. Why is it that our own people don't trust this government? Because you, Mr. Holness, you have a reputation that precedes you. A reputation that your administration is corrupt, enriching on yourselves, nepotism, skullduggery, the Prime Minister's statutory declarations not certified, procurement breach after procurement breach. You can't even get money from your own people. Not even your own Jamaicans you can't get money from. What a sad state of affairs. A government that is unable to earn the trust of its citizens, whether locally or abroad, it is a great indictment to their own administration. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen? And these are the people that are going to tell us that we are recovering and recovering well. I want to know, Mr. Holness. I want to know, where is the Minister of Finance? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm hearing in the grapevine that Minister Fayval Williams took my advice. That's what I'm hearing.
Something all right. Something all right, yeah.
I don't know for sure, it's just talks that I'm hearing all over the place. But who remembered when I warned Minister Fayval? I said, Minister Fayval, run for your life. I said, Minister Fayval, run for your life. Me say, I warned Minister Fayval night and day. I said, Aunty Fayval, run for your life, because when the doo-doo hits the fan and it starts to flash all around the room, if you are there, you are going to become tainted too. I warned Aunty Fayval from last year. Who don't remember? I was elsewhere then, but the message was the same. And when we started the perspective, I warned her again. I said, Aunty Fayval, run for your life. See there? The people in the diaspora don't trust this government. But Gloria, don't you see what is going to happen? Don't you see what is good? Run this song again. Let me run this song again before we go back over Westmoreland. Listen, at 500 likes, I drop another song. But we are run the one here. Tough done. You must go to prison.
Tough done. You must go to prison. And you must go to prison. Vaz, you must go to prison. Mackenzie, you must go to prison. What a mess. 40 billion in a debt. Andrew, a talk and not certified yet. The green politicians, them afraid of wholeness. Nationwide, them a talk and sweat. Yellow bus scandal, procurement breach. Head a figure roll or them drown in a beach. Don't stop talk, Perry, don't stop preach. And Marie mode nasty, you want some bleach. Lord God, perspective, big up yourself.
Cause one by one who no go into jail. One by who no go into one by
Let us hear what is happening over Westmoreland.
Thank you. Yeah. So go ahead, Mr. Hilda. Thought Mr. Robinson.
Yeah. The assumption that the US dollar will not be the currency, that's something we'll see where that goes. But I think I endorse what Julian has to say about the things that we must do as a country. There are two other things that I'd point out. That the energy transition will take some time because the base energy for industry, for example, will require gas or oil for some time. But we have to transition out of that. The other thing I'll say is that we will be looking at energy security arrangements, and I think CARICOM provides some possibilities because of the energy finds within CARICOM, mainly between Guyana and Suriname, and perhaps something for us down the road, don't know. But even if it's just Guyana and Suriname, I think there's a discussion that must be had about energy security within CARICOM.
Thank you very much. One next question, over to the left. Who has the mic? I'm not sure which one went up first, but.
I just want to ask about Westmoreland. From the
Can you say a name, sir? And what?
Ryan Morrison, president of the Negro Entertainment Association.
Thank you.
Down here, our problem with waste management. We have seen a lot of countries using waste to transform to energy. Why is it that we have taken so long to use waste to energy transformation?
I mean, from we were last in government, there was a task force set up to deal with the transformation of Riverton, actually. But quite frankly, we have not seen any tangible movement on it. In fact, I think they were going to relocate. You want to?
Yeah, so there was a proposal to look at the waste situation around Riverton, that being the largest dump. It really is not a not a landfill, it's a dump. And a task force was put in place. The work of that task force, the last meeting I had with them was about a year ago. And that task force continued, but not at the pace that I think is warranted and necessary. And we still haven't gotten to a stage where we're ready to see a concrete proposal being put. So we're still awaiting that. But waste to energy should be a part of that mix of transition measures that we take.
I think that it needs to be looked at as being a special case because it provides energy, but it also deals with a waste problem. You know, and it's unique in that respect. And Jamaica has a real solid waste disposal problem. I mean, I represent a constituency in Kingston, and you know, I was discussing with my councillors yesterday. We have bulky waste now problems, all kind of things people put out on the road, people doing construction and leave refuse on the road, etc. So even though our domestic waste, we're managing fairly well in my constituency. I have a program that I deal with that, but the bulky waste is a big problem. And the government, you know, they don't really have a process for managing that. It's done in an ad hoc way from time to time when it gets bad, you know. So I think if we look at the waste to energy as a thing that is not just solving an energy issue and diversifying our energy mix and trying to get our cost of energy down, but it's also a way of dealing with the solid waste problem, then I think we could prioritize it more, you know? Yeah. I know your MP was bawling about the garbage disposal situation on the, in the video. Yeah.
Just before MP Hales continues to lament the situation, I think enough has been said about the waste to energy, part of the discussion. I think solid waste is currently failing the people of Westmoreland. And we, coming out of the hurricane, there was a program that was being done through the Ministry of Local Government where we're cleaning communities, and I thought it was going very well because residents were able to put out that bulky waste and they were able to clean, debush the area, clean the drains. You know, the communities were looking like life was being restored. That was discontinued and a centralized program done. I don't know for what good reason, because the initial program was also providing significant financial assistance to residents who are in need. What we now have is that pretty much as the elected officials, we become the chief mendicants. We beg on a daily basis for basic services. I mean, the garbage is piled up in sections of White House and in Darliston and Bethel Town. And, you know, it becomes a breeding site.
The feed over there is not so great, ladies and gentlemen, but we're giving them a little more time to see if they will catch up. But what you're... Okay, here they are.
For rodents, for rats and all of those things, which then leads to an public health disaster. So I think more really needs to be done by the National Solid Waste Management Authority to deal with just the collection and disposal of the waste.
I would like to thank you so much for the question and the answers. I would also like to add something to the matter of solid waste. Some years ago, I think it might have been 2007, 2009, the mayor, we were discussing it last week. There was a plan to set up a transfer station in George's Plain. We had a groundbreaking up there, and some equipment, I understand, were delivered. But for some reason, the project didn't get off the ground. Now, when you think of the distance from Westmoreland to Montego Bay, which is where we carry the garbage, it takes very long. It's a long trek. But considering the road conditions, when a truck leaves Westmoreland and manages to reach Montego Bay, that's probably one trip for the day. So even if we increase the number of trucks, it's still going to be a difficult task. What we need to do, and MPs Campbell and Vaz and Hills, it's a matter that the chamber would love to discuss with you. How can we revisit that and get it going? Because it would ease the burden and the handling of the garbage. George's Plain is just right up there, and the land, everything is there.
I had a meeting with the NSWMA in terms of the transfer station in George's Plain. They have advised that within the next 5 weeks, the transfer station in George's Plain will be up and running, due to the fact that we transport garbage from Westmoreland all the way into St. James, and the trucks can only make 2 trips per day. So they have assured me that one a lot of time. Well, yeah. They have assured me that within the next, I think we are now down to 3 weeks remaining for the transfer station in George's Plain to be opened.
That is good news. Thank you for that. All right, next question, please. Mr. Myers, after him, there's a gentleman here in the middle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During the course of this week, Balvin Leslie, Meat Plus Limited, during the course of this week, at the PSC meeting, there was a revelation that the institution that is being investigated had about $40 billion outstanding in taxes and other payments. Or well, we were told that it's 80 million plus interest and penalties. But my concern says that there are reports about a number of other companies that have had large taxes written off, large amount of taxes written off. I just, one of them is said to be a radio station that also gets a large amount of budgetary support in terms of advertisement from the government. It may sound funny, but it's just that I really would love to know whether or not this information is correct, whether or not it is being investigated. Because it sounds unreasonable to me that there are a lot of people in Westmoreland, small business people, who are harassed daily by the tax administration people. And they get little or no mercy. But when we hear of these large tax write-offs, you know, it really is amazing. And just since I won't get a chance again, I just want to find out, sir, whether or not the loan to the JPS of the $150 million, if it is like to come back and bite us in a few years' time, with increased rates, to say that that's pay by the money.
Thank you, Mr. Leslie. I am not so sure the persons with the answers are sitting at this table, but Mr. Gordon, over to you, sir.
The university hospital situation is an ongoing crisis of confidence, you know, that as we hear, and there's more to come, I believe, there's more to come. I have the chairman of the committee that's looking at it beside me, so I can say that. Yes, I mean, you know, sometimes it's necessary, though, for persons to get the opportunity to start, you know, so I believe that the university hospital is going to have some kind of arrangement for that, because there's no way they're going to be able to pay $40 billion. It should never have got to where it is. And that is really the tragedy of this situation, is the prolonged period of very unsound management practices that has allowed these things to be hidden for so long, and then when they come out, they're at a situation, at a stage where clearly that can only be resolved by the government coming to some kind of accommodation for them. Yeah, I don't know, Julian, you want to say?
I understand the concern you're raised about I think inequity may be the correct term in terms of how different entities are treated, and you raised a particular one which concerns us as well, as observers, and how that particular station operates. You know, I think TAJ or the government, as from a policy perspective, I don't think University Hospital is unique, meaning I believe there are probably other government agencies that may not be as bad, but may have similar liabilities as well to TAJ that would require an intervention. But it certainly, if you're a small business and you're being hounded, I understand that vexation. I would also say, you know, during the budget debate, we felt that instead of imposing new taxes, if the government collected what was due to it, then it wouldn't need to burden the residents and the people in the society more. And it's very evident from what we have seen at UE Hospital as a public entity, but there are other private entities that there is scope for greater efficiency in collection so that we can address many of the issues that Moses spoke about, many of the infrastructure problems, if we can collect what is due to the government. As the opposition leader said, we continue at the Public Accounts Committee to probe the issues there. There is more to come. There are more people can probably give us shed light on many of the issues that took place there. But again, what frightens me is that if the Auditor General had not gone in, we would never have known. And the question is, are there other public entities that are operating like this? I mean, I consider it, frankly, from my experience in public service, the worst I've seen. I thought Petrojam was the worst, but this worse than Petrojam.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had some really good questions so far. I also want to remind you that as small micro enterprises,
you have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. War. Him. Sakata. We are mash up, you know. Fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell. Fire, fire, Bishop. I got your back. Fire, fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Watch the operation. Jesus Christ, Eastwood Park Road. Come, come. Come on.
Opposition leader, you need to emphasize towards him, because I believe that MSMEs, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in this region could significantly benefit from a more enhanced, a more vibrant awareness campaign to get the Negril Beach as a must-do and put it on everybody's bucket list. All right? So, yeah, you need to focus on Negril Beach and the Negril community, sir. And significantly, we're talking about alternative source of energy. Brazil used ethanol to be energy independent, and they use sugar cane. But the difference between them and them sugar cane, them get 110 acre per ton per acre. In Jamaica, we get 35 ton on average. And the secret is, I heard that they convert their sewage into fertilizer and use it to fertilize the cane and them pots up. But guess what we do? We put our sewage into our rivers and dump them into the ocean and kill off the fish and the coral reef. You know what I mean? So we need to move away from that. And we need to send a task force to Singapore, because they convert 100% of their garbage into alternative energy. And they use sophisticated filtration system that does not harm the environment. So we need to send a task force to Brazil, and we need to send one to Singapore. All right? Now, it is very unfortunate for the entire Western Belt, because we have a ton of MPs that are PNP, and unfortunately, you have a Jamaica Labour Party government. Very unfortunate. And I'm going to tell you something. Some people afraid for talking now. The Jamaica Labour Party is not going to be too enthused to support Western Jamaica.
Fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop.
Half of them are PNP, and they will be more than inclined to support an alternative source of government for Western Jamaica. We just do a thing what they say, yo, go fund me want some money for buy zinc, and in 1 week we get 300,000 Jamaican, and you, the PNP, could do 10 times, 1,000 times a bigger job. So we cannot depend on the Jamaica Labour Party to help you out at this time. So you're going to have to think outside of the box. You need to now tell me what is your methodology to address my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Well, we probably need you to help us promote our GoFundMe. Mr. Leonard, to get the kind of quick results that you were able to get. But your point about Negril Beach being a tremendous asset that we need to protect is real. And the conditions of access, as you've described them, should never be allowed. You know, Jamaica is quite dependent on tourism as one of the major industries in the country. And Negril Beach and Negril is one of the major tourist centers that we have. So we can't allow our major tourist centers to go down and become an embarrassment, or, you know, where people come and think, God, this is not what I was expecting of such a famous place as Negril Beach. So I take your point there. Yeah, it is. I mean, the ethanol thing, you know, attempts have been made with that in Jamaica, but still have these huge acreages. They probably have estates bigger than the whole of Jamaica, you know, and the economies of scale that you can derive from that, the efficiencies and so on, are significant. Our sugar industry has really struggled ever since the protections that were negotiated in the past were removed under the WTO. And so we know that an attempt was made to privatize, and that did not work well. And the industry is really at a very low ebb, you know. But the idea of ensuring that we don't destroy our rivers and our marine life through our solid waste disposal practices, that is a very real issue. And we, you know, that is impatient of debate. And I don't think there's anybody who would disagree with you that we need to be ensure that we don't do those things, you know. In Kingston, we've had some attempts to clean up Kingston Harbor and to try and manage waste that flows from gullies into the Kingston Harbor, which has been a real problem. But it's kind of catching it at the back end, which is difficult to do, rather than ensuring that communities have waste disposal opportunities and practices so they don't have to be dumping their waste into the gullies, which is a real problem because people are not being serviced. It's the same solid waste issue on a timely basis. So they end up doing things that they know is not right, but they feel they don't have any, you know, anything else that they can do. So that's what they end up doing. Yeah. But I'm going to tell the treasurer to link you to help promote our GoFundMe.
And Mr. Lambert, we're going to send you out a bill for the advertisement of your tour business. All right, so we'll take the next question. I think who is next, Oral? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, and the Member of Parliament, good evening. Yeah. First, I'd like to say, God bless Michael Manley. The reason why I said that, I born in the 70s. And I tell them, Mr. Mark Golden and all the members, they say, Westmoreland people, they go through a lot of tribulation through Siaga. I'm telling you, we go through a lot of suffering through Siaga. The waterfront was down there. When I was in the 70s, I used to swim from wharf, go over to the barge. I used to take sugar and come back on the land. And may I tell you, Mr. Mark Golden, from them move the ship from Westmoreland. Westmoreland was doing good. Money was booming in the town. Everybody was happy. And once they mash up the waterfront, that's where everything in Westmoreland started going wrong. So I may tell you, Mark Golden, we go through a lot of separation through the Labour Party. And Michael Manley have to come down here with Tony Clark. You know, how much land? Michael Manley say, what you do with so much land? The people, they need land. And Michael Manley have to bad him up and say, no, sir, you can't get so much land. I give the poor people them to live. So I have to say, God bless Michael Manley. That man stand up for Westmoreland.
You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop.
any more sugar. And if we don't want to put no more sugar ship, we can get some cruise boat. We can train the people them down at Westmoreland, the youth them to turn a tour guide. You understand? Put up something to show the tourists them say, boy, this was a history play, because Westmoreland have a lot of history. Westmoreland have a lot of history, sir. You see, from the sugar front, leave Westmoreland, that's where crime start up, everything start go wrong, because the youth them don't have anything to do. I may beg the private sector and the business people there, please, I'm begging you, we need to reach out more to the ghetto youth, please, because we have youth in the ghetto have a lot of skill. Please, I'm begging you, we need to reach out to the ghetto youth, and because Mr. Golan, I'm telling you this, the police them doing a good work, but listen to me, you say if you don't reach to the people in the ghetto, things gonna go wrong. You have to reach the people them in the ghetto. You understand? We have to reach them, we can sabotage them and entreat them. You understand? That's cause crime. You understand? That's cause crime and a lot of things. So please, I'm begging you. So you can do for it, sir.
So I want to thank you for all those comments, and what the chamber would like you to do, sir, if you could provide a little list of the names and the skill sets that each person have around there, we will circulate it and we'll engage as best as we can. Over to you, Mr. Goley, or anybody from your panel.
I think that your offer is commendable. I think if something practical can come out of the passionate statement as to how to get the youth them engaged in productive activity and help to uplift the youth them, that would be a great achievement coming out of this event. So I would endorse that suggestion. And of course, Michael Manley is a great champion of our party, and we're very proud of what he did for Jamaica. Yeah. You know, I should mention I have a family connection with Westmoreland, with Sav, because my mother grew up in Sav. Her father, my grandfather, was the doctor in charge at Savlamar Hospital up to the point where he died in the 1930s. So my mother grew up in Sav, so I have a little, family connection with this place. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Next question, please.
All right, name is Cosman Jackson. As I was at the Jamaica Stock Exchange conference earlier this year, and Minister Aubin Hill mentioned that the government was able to raise significant, I believe he mentioned $7 billion at 2%. And he was imploring members, our persons who are there, to go in their communities, tell the members that they can apply to the Development Bank of Jamaica with their business plan for funding at very low rates. I came back so excited and came to my colleagues here at the chamber. All those persons who are approaching me and wondering how they're going to rebuild their businesses, they have good business plans, and I suggested to them that they could get in touch with Development Bank of Jamaica, which they did, only to be told that they have to go to their commercial bank, and that it is through that window that certain sectors will be funded, and they are not aware of that special funding that Minister Hill mentioned. So I just want to ask if you could do some further investigation into that, so that our members could perhaps go back to another source or another avenue.
Well, and that sounds like a stamp fight business. But seriously though, first of all, you would have heard it yourself, Cosman. So if you've heard it, I have to rely on that he did say that. And if he did say that, that is misleading, because they may have gotten funds from places and given it to DBJ, but DBJ, as you found out, doesn't lend money directly. But beyond that, we were told that they have for small businesses, micro and small businesses, really small businesses, because micro business really can't access DBJ loan. It's too onerous, because you have to fill out first a 63-page document. And by the time you fill out, if you can fill it out, and you get the money, then you realize that the terms of the loans and conditions of the loan is not appropriate for the business. So a lot more needs to be done in that regard. We've been struggling with this concept of a development bank and how it operates in this context. And I believe that it should be very clear that it's pointless in getting this money and the people can access it on terms and conditions that will impact their business favorably. And I think the frustration is there, and that's the reality for a lot of the small businesses.
And just to add some light to what it was being offered through the Development Bank of Jamaica, it's actually 10 billion that they have to off-lend to the commercial banks to lend to borrowers. The rate is 8%. The challenge, though, for micro and small businesses is that there's a lot you have to do to qualify. Some things include a business plan where whatever you're doing, you have to be able to explain how it's going to continue to generate money and how it's going to be able to earn revenue so you can pay back a loan. You have to show your financials. So for small shopkeepers, that might be the total cash you have in and what you have going out. But to get those things done, you need guidance. And so when President Chaibar says in joining the Chamber of Commerce, what it adds for you is that you have strength in numbers, and you may have people in the chamber who can actually help, or you can buy the services as a group. You know, so you could come together and go to one accountant and say 10 people are going to come, charge them this smaller rate, because the truth is to do financial statements are upwards of $200,000. A small business owner doesn't have that to just put aside rather than to invest in their business. I know you would say to me, no, 200,000, I could buy a lot of things to buy and sell back, right? Right, so the truth is that you can, through community, I heard President Chaibar say mentoring each other. If you come together, you can do something to help you qualify for those loans, and then it's actually a commercial bank that you have to go to. So we need to spend some more time if we're serious as a country about small, invest in the things that businesses need to be able to move forward. And I'm sure you agree with me, right?
Yes. Thank you, Senator. And I would like to pause to also acknowledge the presence of another senator who just joined us, Robin Small Ferguson. Welcome, sir. And Senator Anderson, to follow up on your point, so JBDC, Jamaica Business Development Committee, there's a branch here at Dunbar's River. So what we will do as a chamber is invite them here because they will assist with business plan, registration of business, etc. And a lot of their services they will do for free. And I think there's a fee for some parts of it. So we will invite them here for you to provide you with that kind of support. Also, getting a loan is not just a straightforward thing. If you don't have certain records and so forth, you're not going to get it. So what we have planned for you for the next chamber meeting, and I just announced it here, which is May 13, we have someone coming in who will be going through a checklist with you of all the things you need to know, need to do, and need to have if you're going to apply for a loan and if you're going to be successful. So make sure you don't miss the next chamber meeting. All right, next question. There was a gentleman behind him, I think Mr. Noble. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yes, good evening. Let me welcome all at the head table. My questions are similar along the line with Sir Jackson. I'm D. Anglin, owner and operator of Deal Westmoreland Hardware in Darliston. That's in Eastern Westmoreland. My member of parliament is Dr. Campbell. Yes, but this has been a long time issue where small businesses have a problem to get loans, and the requirements, you will never be able to fulfill them. So what we really need, we need a system in place, whether through some proper monitoring, some guidance, where you can lend the person the funds so that they can get to take the business to the next level. Because that has, over the years, has always discouraged a lot of people. They give up because they don't have the wherewithal to get the loan, and it's very discouraging, it's heartrending, and we have always heard that the small business are the backbone of the society. They're the one that goes in the nooks and crannies of the areas. Something needs to be put in place, better organization for them, so we can be able to access these loans, that we can take our business to the next level. That is what we really want. Thank you.
And I mean, there's international experience around micro-lending, you know, where the Grameen Bank experience in Bangladesh and many other countries that were modeled on that, where you design the financing and the access to suit the people you're trying to help. So you don't push the requirements out of reach. To the contrary, you make it very accessible. You know, I mean, in my own constituency, where I have some arrangements where I get funding to support small business, I do grants, I don't make loans. You know, I listen to what they want to do with it, and if it makes sense, they get a grant. You know, and because I can't bother trying to administer a loan program. You know, I just want to see the people get their businesses going and make the constituency better. So I'm just suggesting that our whole approach to financing small business in the country, and I'm talking about small, you know, I'm talking about really relatively small, micro to small, it is flawed. You know, we have not yet come to the level where the people are and meet them where they are and deal with them in a way that they can understand, they can access it, they can benefit from it. And until we do that, our economy will never perform the way we want it to perform.
Thank you. Thank you. It is a fact that, and I said it at the start, that small and micro enterprises are really the foundation for all businesses. Everything comes right back to them. And so when we get them going, we get an economy to improve. And with that said, this discussion will end at 8:30. So I implore you, if you have questions, keep them brief for me, please. Just get straight to the point. And I really want to hear from some of the persons from those sectors, small and micro. Let us hear your concerns and what kind of help you need. Because Mr. Golding, as he rightly said, some of us will never be able to get a loan at this stage until we get some things in order, but a little grant could go far away. So we'd love to hear from some of you. Who is next? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Crystal Evans. I'm the country manager for Harmony FinTech Limited. So basically what we do is that if you're a jerk man and people come buy from you and they have them card, you can just take your phone and show them it and scan it, and they can take the payment. So they don't necessarily have to have cash. The market vendors, same thing. That is what we do. So my concern, I have a little call, is the integration of technology into our economy, especially Westmoreland commerce and industry. My other concern is young people. We don't have no plan for young people. We don't have no ecosystem for develop geniuses. And when that don't happen, then they become rogue. Most of the community maladies and the social issues that we have is because we allow our brightest people to just right that. So I haven't heard anything for the youths. We have a youth ministry, I don't hear nothing. We have a technology ministry, I don't hear nothing either. It's all performative. You know, a lot of speeches and discourses. One of my friends like to say, you know, the white man have AI, the Chinese have productions, the Arab have oil, and all we have is a whole lot of conversations. We're always having that. We're not executing. All right, for some of you people who, you know, we like to say, oh, we're going to do this. Hush, honey. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. What's your part in all of that? Because we can't just wait on to make it happen. It has to be like a group effort if we're going to move fast. So I just want to know about the integration of technology into our economy and the plans for the young people. Right? Ms. Ferguson, I heard you spoke about the crime. It's deeper than that, as we all know. All right? Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Our campaign manifesto had two specific funds. We had a strategy that we wanted to create pockets of capital that would be accessible in areas which are traditionally deprived of capital, and that could really help economic actors in those pockets to move forward in a serious way. And the young people was one. So we had a fund for youth business entrepreneurs, $1 billion replenished annually, that would provide financing for any young people who wanted to get going in business. And we would try and design the requirements so that they would be able to get those funds out the door and deploy it in the economy as quickly as possible. That was one. And we had another one relating to the entertainment sector specifically, which young people are the main practitioners in. So they would also be able to, and that was considered broadly, music, drama, art, cooking, you know, whatever it is, cultural and creative industry. So that was our vision, to really provide finance at that era to support that ecosystem. And then those ministries could provide other inputs, training, and, you know, assistance in handling, navigating the economic space and the regulatory requirements where they are and so on. But the funding part of it, we want to solve in that way. In terms of tech, I'm going to let someone else speak to that. But essentially, I agree with you. We've had some problems with tech because, for example, the mobile wallet system has not really worked in Jamaica. NCB made a big foray with Link. It hasn't really happened. Jamdex, which is a central bank digital currency, hasn't really happened either. I think I got $1,000 or $2,000 worth of Jamdex a couple of years ago. Nigel Clark made a big deal of it in his budgets, paying his barber. I don't know if his barber ever got paid, or if he did, if he's been able to do anything with the money. You know, it has all stalled. So we really need to look at how we deal with the digitization of the economy, because there are other countries which have been liberated by that. I mean, India, for example, they have this system called ADR or something like that, which has enabled them to deliver benefits to the, and you know how big India is. It's the most populated country in the world now. It's bigger than China. And they have been able to deliver into villages all over India, government benefits, state benefits through the ADR system, which is entirely digital. In India, you can pay for anything from your phone. Even from a market vendor, you want to buy a melon, you can pay for it through ADR. And they all have bank accounts facilitated by this. So you have to have a vision for making technology accessible at the grassroots level and then build from there. That's what, I'm not a techie, but that's how I see it being. Unless you do that, it doesn't really have the impact that you desire. Is there anyone else?
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. In my portfolio of productivity, efficiency, and competitiveness, technology is one of the prime enablers. And if I could just take 2 minutes to say it operates at a number of levels. If we start at productivity at a personal level, the first thing we have to transform is our education system. And we've been talking about this for forever. But when I go into a classroom today as a member of parliament, it looks very similar and it's organized much as it did when I was in school decades ago. If I walk into a bank or a supermarket or any other type of organization, it looks completely different and it operates completely different and driven by technology, but we still haven't incorporated it in any meaningful way in our education system. We talk about upskilling our workforce. Technology is one of the ways that we can do that. Those who didn't get the first opportunity in school can be upskilled. And one of the initiatives we had around that was in our campaign manifesto was that we were going to use heart to match dollar for dollar every business who invested in upskilling their workforce, whether small, medium, or large businesses. We would have matched their investment in their workforce to improve their productivity. So that's at a personal level. At a business level, there's a whole, AI is transforming personal productivity, particularly in some industries, but it is having devastating effects right now on many areas in our business process outsourcing. In Manchester, in central Manchester, I championed the first BPO center. I brought Sutherland Global to Manchester, and at their peak, they were employing close to 10,000 people in Jamaica. My understanding is now that has been cut in half, and it's affecting many other BPO type operations. So AI is inevitable, but if we don't use it, and if we're not early adopters of it, we're actually going to be victims of it. I give you another example. There's a company I'm associated with that had a margarine tub filling line, and they've just introduced, or in the process of introducing, a robotic line to replace the human who are tub filling. They've reduced the employment on that line by 85%. But the efficiency, that company will now be able to compete in export, not just in the region, but across the world. So what this takes is investment at a company level to give people the skills. When I'm driving down to Mandeville every week, many times a week, it pains me to see people cleaning the highway, the east-west highway, with broom and rake and wackermen cutting the side. You never see that in a first world country. You know, they have machinery, sweepers that people sit on and, you know, go down the highway at 45 miles per hour, and it's so much more efficient. And these are the sorts of investments we need. At a national level, government bureaucracy is a huge impediment to improving our productivity. And, you know, a big part of that is corruption. Things stay inefficient so that people can eat our food from making it happen. There's a certain arbitrariness in our approval systems. They're not predictable. The first questioner spoke about her interest in real estate development, I believe. And if you're talking about real estate development, it can be a minefield in terms of you try and go through the process, you follow everything. At the end of the development, the Water Commission might say, yes, I know we approved the project at the beginning, but guess what? You can't connect to this sewage line here, or you can't get water at this line. You have to run it another mile in order to get it, even though it was approved on that basis. The fire department says, yes, we approve your plans with regular windows, but no, we really think you need fireproof windows. And this is the sort of unpredictability and uncertainty that discourages investment. And finally, I just want to say there's a systemic impediment to productivity and competitiveness that we have, which is the cost of energy. Just on my drive down here, I calculated on my residential bill what my last bill, what the cost per kilowatt hour was. And it was 47 US cents per kilowatt hour, which is, you know, and it's growing, because I believe by next month, when the full impact of the oil prices pass through, it will be even more. There's very few manufacturing or energy intensive businesses that can survive. Farmers who have to pump water, imagine what this will have do to your irrigation costs. We know fertilizer costs are exploding already. So until we succeed in bringing this cost down, we're really not going to move forward in an energy intensive type industry. There are solutions which individual entities are finding, but the problem with that is that it's actually going to make electricity more expensive for the average Jamaican. And how is that? Because the best paying residential customers are putting in solar systems, which today at these prices will pay back for themselves in 3 or 4 years. The best customers are, you know, co-generated. the overheads of JPS still has to be distributed by the rest of us. And therefore, the cost per kilowatt hour will keep going up. And that's, you know, a serious impediment. And unless we have some transformational thinking, some really innovative, creative, radical thinking to bring down that cost in the shortest possible time. And that brain power does not exist at the Ministry of Energy right now, at the policy level.
Good evening. Roger Allen. Gentlemen, MPs at the head table, good evening. Good evening all. I won't ask you a question where you can't do anything about. I'm going to ask you the question that you can do something about. The people of Westmoreland over the years have always supported the People's National Party. Whichever way you look at it, the majority of the time, the people of Westmoreland support the People's National Party. I don't have a problem with the Prime Minister not paying us a lot of attention. That's the norm. What I have a problem with is when the PNP is in power, Westmoreland, who is always loyal, don't seem to be benefiting from the PNP in power. Typical example, the ferries to Maxfield Highway. Roger Clark went to Kingston, cried a lot of time for it. It was done under the JLP. We thought to Darlistan. It was done under the JLP. The biggest police station being built anywhere in Jamaica is being done under the JLP in the parish of Westmoreland. Point out to me and the PNP supporters in here, what are the tangible development that has taken place by the PNP in central Westmoreland. That is what we'd like to see. Remember, we had the last election where PNP stay home. They might, I'm not telling them to do it again. We have seen where every constituency in central Westmoreland went to the JLP in the election before the last. It may happen again. And until the PNP, when they are in power, pay attention to the people of Westmoreland by tangible development, we're going to see this flip-flop. We have always been loyal, Mr. Opposition Minister, but we have not seen where our loyalty is paid off.
Thank you, Roger. We know. Hello, Mr. Golding.
Yeah. Perhaps your memory needs a little jogging. You know? First of all, the whole development of Negril was a vision of Norman Washington Manley. So it starts from back then, coming through, and I'll let others, I'm going to start to my right and move across.
The Darliston water supply scheme was one of the most expensive schemes in Jamaica, done under the PNP to bring water to Darliston.
And the Macfield to Ferris, that was conceived, planned in the People's National Party and funded and was implemented by the JLP, which is how government operates. You start something, and because of the lapse in time and the bureaucracy, it gets implemented in another period.
Yeah.
Folks, we are interested in who make it happen. Right? Okay, Mr. Next question. You can ponder over that one, Mr. Opposition Leader. And when you go in office, because you will go in office, you know, don't worry about it. All of you gentlemen that are sitting at the head table will get the next chance. You'll be in office. Opposition on finance is that the government earn on solar system, whether it be panel, battery, inverters.
Yeah, just to say though, I think I'm going to hand it to Julian so he can respond to your question about taxes on solar. But to say that you're not interested in how a project originates. You're only interested in who executes. It's a bit short-sighted.
Maybe.
Because you have to arrange the design, you have to do all of the preparatory work, you have to raise the finance, and then you do the construction. And as it so happens, in the case of that particular road, by the time it reached that stage now where it's just to engage a contractor and execute,
it's the easy
government had
part.
changed.
It's easy.
Yeah.
And I do understand. I do understand that. I do
Right.
understand that.
So, yeah.
But as a person who have gone with Member of Parliament Roger Clark into Kingston, who shed a lot of tears for that road to see it being implemented under a JLP administration, is a very heartbroken one.
I understand, Roger. I mean, we feel it too when we do the work, but the nature of politics, if you lose, somebody else is going to implement. Many of the things being done by the current government were conceived by us. Highway 2000, named after Siaga, was our idea. But not just, he opposed it. So Roger, I hear you, but don't discount the work that would have been done to conceive of these ideas. And we are working hard to ensure that we implement. So we are in a position where we can implement. In terms of your question, my understanding is that taxes are not applied for solar panels or for the batteries.
For the inverter, the taxes on the inverter, would a PNP government remove all government taxes from solar panel, from inverter, and from battery, that the people can build their own alternative energy?
Maybe inverters, but I recently put in one and I don't recall there being taxes on the batteries or from the panels. Okay. I would have to check the inverters. I don't think so, that there are taxes on that. I don't think so.
One last question.
Roger.
The Cuban doctors has been removed.
Yes.
We understand the whole politics. We understand the whole American thing and all of that. Now we can't fight America. What I want you to ask the government, what is the replacement for the people of Westmoreland, Sablamar Hospital, for the Cuban doctors? Because there is a void, and we are all going to suffer down here if they're not there. So we want the government, you wanted to ask the government, what is the alternative?
We have, and they have no alternative.
And they no answer?
No, they have no alternative.
Okay,
I mean, let's just be frank. They have put no plans in place. The reality is that the Cuban doctors work in remote areas where many Jamaicans don't want to work. They are in specialist areas where we don't have the expertise. There is no plan. It's as simple as that.
They're talking about going to this country and that country to try and source. But who knows what that will bring. You know, until those arrangements were concretized and in place, how could you send home doctors that are providing vital services that people need? You're just creating a gap that's going to cost people's lives. And I don't think that should have happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the final question, but what we will do, if Mr. Gowley will allow a little time for one-on-one interaction after we close this section. Is that okay, sir? Briefly, for a few minutes. And MP Robbins, I must tell you that there are indeed some taxes on some components of the solar system. I do believe, no, there are some taxes on the panels also. There are none? There are taxes on some components, I'm very sure. I can't say exactly which one, but there are some taxes on some. You can double check it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has really been an evening well spent. We got some very good questions in.
Well. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a very interesting session over there in Westmoreland. I tried my best to cover as much as possible, but we have no regrets of sharing with my with the Perspective family what has taken place down in Westmoreland today. Truly a lot. We heard a lot. We heard a lot. So we are grateful for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are way over time, but we make no apologies for that. The People's National Party represented well in Westmoreland. They had a dialogue about the medium to small, the medium businesses, and I'm very encouraged by this. It was called Breaking Barriers, Building Businesses, where Mark Golding, Altony Hilton, Peter Bunting, Jordan Robinson, and others represented the people and to give ideas and to really highlight some of the issues, giving the people a voice, an opportunity to voice their concerns. This is what contributes to a healthy democracy. It's not just enough to get the votes of the people, ladies and gentlemen. No, I hope, Yvonne Riley, as you've suggested, that the People's National Party will keep this momentum up. See if we can go to other places and spark a fire like never before, because if there's ever a time we need to re-energize or energize our base, it is now. It is now. So we are happy to hear that type of representation coming from the People's National Party. How much more likes we need to get to 500 before I drop the last song before I go? Somebody give me feedback as to how many likes we have. Wow, it's quite interesting. Hold on, I wanted to play this clip with Nikisha Burchell talking about the roofs program, you know. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, before we go. This is a conversation that we have to keep alive.
We're having a big discussion today because opposition leader Mark Golding said yesterday the government has dropped the ball. You represent one of the hardest hit constituencies in the country. What are your constituents telling you on the ground about what the roofs program has and has not delivered?
They've asked me to let Jamaica know that what you're hearing in the news, what you're seeing on paper, is not what is translating in their lives and in their communities at home. There's a huge gap, Jody, between what was promised and what people are actually experiencing. So this roofs program, it launched with much fanfare, and we had great expectations and great hopes for it because God knows our people need the housing assistance. So we're finding three different things occurring for us. There are those who have not yet been assessed because they're not home when those persons from the Ministry of Labour would come to the community to collect their data. Or even if they come to the community at all, we're not sure. There are also those who are in the system but have not yet received a call or a text message to indicate if they have qualified. And then there's a third set. There are those who have received a text or a partial text, and when they turn up to get assistance, they're told there is no money there for them, or they stand in the sun all day and leave empty-handed nonetheless. And yesterday I cited the example of Mr. Joshua Walker. He's just one because he's a very glaring example. He's that person who I was asked to bring 3 representatives from the constituency who qualified based on the government's assessment for $500,000 grant towards the rebuilding of their home. I asked Mr. Walker, we call him Man a Wall, to come and collect the symbolic check indicating that he would be getting $500,000. To this date, Man a Wall has not received either text message, neither has he received any indication of whether or not he's been approved truly, and if that was just a photo op. He went to the NIS office as recently as this Monday, and was sent back with no assistance. So it's not as if we don't want the system to work. We need it to work. We want it to work properly. We're finding as well that there are homes where multi-residents are qualifying and have collected checks when we have homes that have been totally disseminated and not even $1. All we're asking is that the system be assessed or reassessed with a view to finding out where the gaps are, because at the end of the day, what we want is to deliver quality service, timely service to the people, but fair service as well.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I think Miss Nikisha Burchell did a good job of just explaining the concerns of the Roofs program. Again, thank you to Gloria Swaby for the super chat. Thank you for all those who tuned in. Thank you for sticking and staying with me for another evening. Truly, it was a blessing, a blessing. And did we hit the target of 500 likes for the live? Let me know. But yes, man, very encouraging from Golden. This type of dialogue. Just a quick recap. We saw the inadequacies surrounding Mr. Vaz's recommendations as a response to the oil prices and the shocks. We also saw a 1.4 figure floating around from Oddpim, when the realities on the ground is just certainly not matching up. We heard leader from the Diaspora, Mr. Leo, right, warning the Diaspora as to how they donate to the government. Very, very, very concerning. We touched on the meeting with Mr. Golden et al. In Westmoreland, and of course we brushed on the woes that the banana farmers are experiencing, and of course we closed out with Nikisha Burchell and her sentiments regarding the Roofs program. I think we can play the new song now and we head on out. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. as per usual, it's the weekend. We may very well let our hair down and relax, but we still have to blaze that good old comrade fire. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Lightning and thunder for the JLP. Corruption in the nation.
Wait, before we get into the song, somebody reminded me that we didn't pray. We have to pray. Father, we give you thanks for another session. We give you thanks for your grace and your mercies. We give you thanks for an opportunity to advocate, to have these type of discussions. So much has come out because of having public conversations, as though we're seeing it in Westmoreland even tonight. We give you thanks for this platform and for the many voices, the contributors, Gloria Swaby and others who have been sowing into the ministry. We give you thanks, Lord, for them. I pray that you will bless our viewers, keep us safe as we look forward to another day. These and other mercies we ask of you in Jesus' name. And let the people say amen. If we're not ready for the song now, say run the tune, Perry, run the tune, run the tune. Listen, we not stop drop song for this incompetent administration, you know. If we don't want to hear song now, say run the tune. We might play it 2 times. We're playing it 2 times and then we'll go. If we don't want to hear the tune, say run the tune, Perry. Alright, let's go.
Lightning and thunder for the JLP. Corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. Always see a degradation. Innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the housing trust, but people are go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. Now war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg is hamping. Corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. Always see a degradation. Innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the housing trust, but people are go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. Now war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg you stop it. lightning and thunder for the JLP. Corruption in the nation, what a sticky situation. Always see a degradation, innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor, tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing those in trust for people, I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. No war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg is hamping. Corruption in the nation, what a sticky situation. Always see a degradation, innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor, tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing those in trust for people, I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. No war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg you stop it. Corruption in the nation, what a sticky situation. Always see a degradation, innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor, tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the house in trust for people, I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. No war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg you stop it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Well,